Hello, today is Wednesday, January 13th. Hopefully this video finds you in good health. For self-start today, we have to do quite a few problems, but they're pretty easy. We need to, first off, rewrite 98% as a decimal. So yesterday we learned how to change from a percent to a decimal. What we do is we take our percent and we divide it by 100. So I would do 98 divided by 100, and that's going to give me an answer of 0.98. Determine if I'm looking for the part, the percent, the whole for each of the following. So our first one is, what is 19% of 322? So the first thing I like to do is I like to look for the percent sign. So I see my percent sign, so I know it's not the percent I'm looking for. So the part, I look for the word is, and it says, what is? Okay, so sounds like we're looking for the part, but let's double check. For the whole, I like to look for the word of. It says of 322. So that means I'm looking for the part on the first one. Next one says 4 is what percent of 16? So again, I like to look for the percent sign first. When I look, I don't see a percent sign. So automatically I know that I'm looking for percent. 40% of what? 40 is what? Well, I see my percent sign, so we know it's not percent. So I'm going to look for the part, look for the word is. It says is what? Ooh, okay. And then I see the word of 40. So is, that's my part. It says is what? So again, I'm looking for the part. Next one says, what is 35% of 120? Well, I see my percent sign. I look for the part, I look for the is, and it says, what is? Okay, well, that's interesting. Then it's for the whole, I look for the word of, it says of 120. So again, it looks like I'm looking for the part. The last one says 22 is 40% of what number? Well, I look for my percent. There it is right there. I'm looking for my part. I'm looking for is. It says 22 is. So I know it's not the part. And then it says of what number? So the of, that's my whole. So on this problem, I'm looking for the whole. There's your Chuck Norris. You can pause and read it. Parent-teacher conferences are today from 3:30 to 7. There probably are still a couple of slots. I haven't looked recently, but if your parents do need to talk to us, make sure they get signed up quickly. Our first feedback on percents will be this Friday. We need to be able to change a fraction to a decimal, and then decimal to percent, and then vice versa, percent to decimal to fraction. You need to be able to determine if you're looking for the part, the percent of the whole, just like we did for our self-start today. And then you need to be able to solve a percent problem using either a proportion, the is over of equals percent over 100, or the percent equation that we spoke about yesterday. So for today, we've done the self-start. We're going to start off by reviewing fractions, decimals, and percents. I believe if you watched the video from yesterday, we did this already, but I'm going to cover it again just in case. And we are just going to be practicing using the percent equation again today because students in class had a very difficult time with it. So if we were given 4% and asked to change that into a fraction and a decimal, how would we do that? Well, to go from a percent to a fraction, I just take the number and put it over 100. If I'm asked to turn it into a decimal, I just do the top number divided by the bottom number, and that gets me an answer of 0.04. So the next question, well, how is 0.4 and 0.04 different? Well, this is something that students struggle with because of that decimal. A lot of times they will think 0.4 and 0.04 are the same, but they're really not. So if I were to change 0.4 into a into a percent, I would take my 0.4 and I would multiply it by 100. And when I do that, I get an answer of 40%. If I were to do that to 0.04, multiply by 100, I would get an answer of 4%. So they are different in that sense. And if I were to put it as a fraction, that would be like saying 40 over 100. And 4% would be 4 over 100. So they are very different. So if you get confused by it, the best thing to do is to turn them into a percent or a fraction and kind of see how they are different. So for today, I'm just having students practice percent equation, the part equals percent times whole. But we're also going to be practicing the old way, the is over of equals percent over 100 as well. So on one side of the paper, they're going to be setting it up the new way. The other side, they're going to be practicing the old way. So a lot of these slides are going to be similar to yesterday. If you were in class yesterday, these will be new. If you were not in class, then these will be kind of a review for you. Girls make up 60% of the 30 students in class. How many girls are in this class? So what's my part? Well, the part are going to be the girls, but it doesn't tell me, so that's going to be my x. My percent is 60. The whole, that's the total number of students, which was 30. So if I'm going to set it up as a percent equation, I'm going to do my part equals my percent times the whole. Now remember, from yesterday, we have to take that percent and we have to change it into a decimal. We do that by dividing by 100. So that's going to give me 0.6. So when I type in my calculator, 0.60 times 30, that gives me an answer of 18. So that means out of the 30 students, 18 of them are girls. So this is the new way. The old way would be to set it up as the is over of equals percent over 100. The is, that's my part, that's my x, over the of, which is the whole, equals my percent, which was 60, over 100. I multiply numbers that are diagonal, and then I divide by the remaining number to get my x. And when I do that, I get an answer of x equals 18. So I get the exact same answer regardless of which way I do it. So that's a good way to check your work, is to do it both ways. Next one says, in a survey of students, 110 students, which was 55%, say they prefer soda over fruit juice. How many total students took the survey? I'm going to look for my part. My part is going to be the smaller, just the part of the students, not the whole thing. And that would be my 110. My percent would be my 55. My whole, that's the total number of students. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for how many total students. So that's going to be my x. So if I set it up as my equation, part equals percent. So we're going to take that 55 and make sure we divide it by 100. So that's 0.55 times the whole. Now to solve it, this is a one-step equation. Draw my fence. I need to get the x all by itself. So to do that, the opposite of multiplying by 0.55 is to divide by 0.55. So if I type in my calculator, 110 divided by 0.55, I get an answer of x equals 200. That means 200 students took that survey. 110 of them said they like soda over fruit juice, and that was 55%. Out of 120 assignments turned in last week for our class competition, 102 were on time. What percent of the assignments were turned in on time? Well, my part, that's going to be the number that was actually turned in on time. It was 102. My percent, I don't see any percent signs, and it does say what percent of the assignments, so we don't know. That's my x. The whole were the total number of assignments turned in, which is 120. Set it up as an equation. Part equals percent times the whole. Again, it's a one-step equation. Draw my fence. The opposite of multiplying by 120 is to divide by 120. When I type in my calculator 102 divided by 120, I get an answer of x equals 0.85. Now, because it's looking for a percent, I have to take that 0.85 and times it by 100, which gives me an answer of 85%. If I want to check my work, I can set it up the old way. The is over of equals percent over 100. The is, that's 102. That's my part. The of, that's the whole. That's the 120. Equals my percent over 100. We multiply numbers that are diagonal and then divide by the other number. When I type all that into my calculator, I get an answer of 85, and make sure to put that percent sign with it. A bag of M&Ms has 240 pieces of candy. 60 pieces are green. So what percent of the bag of M&Ms were green? So my part, that's going to be my 60 pieces. My percent, it says what percent? Oh, we don't know. The whole, that's the total number of pieces of candy, which was 240. So my equation is part equals my percent times the whole. Draw my fence. The opposite of multiplying by 240 is to divide by 240. When I type 60 divided by 240 in my calculator, I get an answer of 0.25. Because I'm looking for a percent, I'm going to take that 0.25 and multiply it by 100 to get 25%. To do it the old way, my part over my whole equals my percent over 100. And when I type that into my calculator, I get x equals 25, and don't forget your percent because we're looking for a percent. There's not going to be any homework today because I want students practicing this. They did not have a chance really to finish the assignment in class yesterday. So those of you at home, work on yesterday's assignment if it's not done, and we'll see you back soon enough. See you later.